Hey guys, all my subscribers have been hitting me up asking me for more famous videos, so I thought I better make another one. So on this double IXL, the first one is it a function? I'll make a little bit of video about this right now, and then I'll also talk about is it linear? So click on is it a function? Now we've already done this one. I just want people to practice a little bit more. So it's only a score of 60. And remember, if it's a graph and it's asking, is it a function? This IXL has two parts to it. So the first thing is, if I had earlier last week before, we talked about if I had a table, and it was just asking me 3, 4, -5, 7, and y's were 2, 2, 8, and 5, whatever. If this was the possibilities, then remember we talked about as long as x isn't on there twice, then yes, it is a function. But if there's x on there twice, remember we talked about our fancy function machine idea. X goes in, y comes out, so x and y, and it has a function inside here, right? Funky. So if I put a 3, for example, into the function machine, it did all its magic right here, 3x minus 1. I don't know, I just made something up. And then out popped an 8. I can't later keep putting in stuff and then all of a sudden be like, oh, I got a 3. I'm going to throw a 3 in here and a 7 comes out. That doesn't make sense. It has to follow the same equation every time. So the number that comes out would have to be an 8. But since it's not, I have 2 3s for x. So this is where it is not a function. So the same idea when I'm graphing, if I look at the line, if we make the vertical line test, let me get a better color that pops. If we make a vertical line anywhere on here, over and over and over, we could just keep making them. As long as it only intersects the line that's on there one time, that means everywhere this hits, there's an X there, right? This is X is 1, 2, 3, -3, excuse me. So if I said, oh, that's Y, sorry, 1.5, let me undo that. Get back here. So right here at this spot, X is -1.5 right there. This is pretty much 0. I'm over here. That's about 1. That's about 2. That's about 3. But see how the blue line only ever hits it once? That means every X is only on there one time. I said I had -0.5. I had 1. I had 2. I had 3. Never does it have it twice. So the answer for this one should be yes. Okay. This one, I would, if I drew a line right here, X is -1, -2, -3. Okay. So if I turn this into a table and I put X in at -3, it's going to run through that fancy machine, not to waste too much time, but it's going to run through this fancy machine with a -3, and out pops Y is 1.5. If I put in another -3, out pops 1, 2, -2.75. I'm rough estimate here. But see how, because that vertical line test makes it real easy when I'm looking at a graph. If it hits twice, that means there's X is on there twice. So the answer would be no. Okay. So let me skip a level just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Now this is just, remember, where you start deciding, is it a graph, or excuse me, is it a function? And then beware, I got this one wrong earlier and got mad about it because I didn't pay attention. It says, which of these relations are functions? Select all that apply. So I selected this one and it told me I was wrong. And I was like, what the heck? Oh, because there's multiples. This one's a function and this one's a function. Because see how my line wouldn't have hit it twice. This one hits twice, this one hits twice. So just a heads up as you're going. As you can see, though, I'm all the way up to 85. So you may not even get that question if you're just going to 60. All right, let's go to our second piece. Is it linear? Okay, the main idea of linear is, come on, load. Right there, that word, line. Linear just means line. Does it make a straight line? In a graph, if it's not a straight line, then the answer is as simple as no. Oops. So on this one, it's not straight, so it's non-linear, not straight, not a line. Did it submit? Uh-oh, nothing's happening. There we go. And then this one is linear. It's a straight line. Doesn't matter if it's positive, doesn't matter if it's negative, 0, undefined. Like, as long as it is a straight line, that's all that matters. Now, if you have your math notebook that you're going to want to use for your test next week handy, I would get it ready. You could pause this video and go get it and a pencil, because when you get to a table, here's what you're going to need to know for a table. When you're trying to see if it's linear in a table, you're going to do these things. You're going to put y2 right here and y1 right here, and you're going to subtract x2 right here minus x1 right here. And that'll tell us if we're going to be linear or not. So just be aware, this is y2, this would be y1, this would be x1, this would be x2. Think about it. This is set number 1, this is set number 2. And then later I can switch it. I can make this set number 1 and this set number 2, and I'll explain that in just one second. But while I have my handy colors ready, let me switch it to blue. So if I said 14 is y2 and 10 is y1, 14 minus 10, I'm going to write it over here, is 4. And x2 is 11. X1 is 10. So 11 minus 10 is 1. So what we did was we just found what would be the slope there, up 4 over 1. So then we can do it again, but let's just call this, let me use my eraser. Again, pause this whenever you need to add this to your notes. But if I got rid of this stuff and switched it up to, now, if I said this was y1 and this is y2, and some of you might say, Mr. Lentz, why can you just switch them? Because I'm just looking at them in order. Pretend I never got to see that number. Wouldn't this become the 1s and this become the 2s? So just in theory, I'm saying, I don't know if this is here. Now, to see if it'd be linear, I should come up with 4, 1 as my answer. If my answer doesn't come up with 4, 1 again, it's no longer linear, because that means my slope changed somewhere. So I would do 18 minus 14, which equals 4. So far that's looking good. And then 12 minus 11, which is 1. And so my answer would be, this is linear because it has the same slope both times. Okay. If it comes out with a different slope, then the answer would be non-linear. The one thing I'll warn you of in case they try to trick you is, if it would have came up with 8 over 2, just remember 8 over 2 is reducible to 4 over 1. So don't fall for that trick in case that pops up. So that's how we tell if it's linear in a table. If it has y2 minus y1, x2, I would have this in my notes. I would even have this table, or your own table, one that you can see as an example. So on the test, you can see this is the equation I need, and this is what it looks like. Hope this video helps.